Okay, so I'm Paula, and I'm a second year in studying applied language and translation studies. And now I'll be giving you a talk about how's the course like. So first, I'll be giving you an overview of the course. So if you have a passion for languages and you're interested in exploring the field of translation, this course is definitely for you. So the aim of the course is to prepare a new generation of translators and language professionals for global career opportunities. So the course can be 3 or 4 years long. So it has an optional year, which you can do an Erasmus or an intra-year, which basically is a work placement. I will talk about that later on. Then the CAO minimum points required for this course is 441 points, and the general entry requirements, you can see them at the DCU website. So you will study 2 foreign languages. So it will be Chinese, French, German, Japanese, and Spanish. And apart from that, you will also have modules where you will study the study of language, culture, translation, and also intercultural communications. So this course offers you 2 pathways. So you can either take pathway 1 or pathway 2. So pathway 1 meaning you get 2 intermediate languages. So for example, you can pick French intermediate and German intermediate. Or you can do pathway 2, which basically is one language at intermediate level and then another one at beginner level. So you can pick, for example, German intermediate and Spanish beginner. And what we mean beginner level is you don't have any prior knowledge. So you will start from scratch. Then now we'll be talking about modules. So I must say that, for example, I chose the pathway 1, which basically is both languages at intermediate. So I chose Spanish at intermediate and German at intermediate. So here are my examples. So for example, in first year, in semester 1, the core module, so everyone has to do this, is Introduction to the Study of Language. Then, as I chose Spanish intermediate, I had Spanish language and Spanish society and literature, and German language and German society and literature. So, of course, for example, if, say, you chose Japanese, you have Japanese language and Japanese society and literature. This will depend on the language you choose. So in semester 2, you have the core module, which is Introduction to Translation Studies, and then you will keep on with the language. So, for example, Spanish language and Introduction to Translation Practice. So, in the given language, for example, in Spanish. Then, for example, I had German language and so on, Introduction to Translation Practice in German. However, those, for example, who choose to have a language at a beginner, you have for example, if you chose a Spanish beginner, you have Spanish culture and society, and you wouldn't have the module Introduction to Translation Practice. Then in year 2, you have as a core module Introduction to Terminology and Introduction to Textual Studies, and you will continue with the language. So, for example, Spanish language and culture, and you also have a Spanish literature and film, and the same for the other language. And in semester 2, you have as a core module computer-aided translation. So, and you will continue with Spanish language and culture, Introduction to Translation Practice again, and then German language and culture, and Introduction to Translation Practice in the given language you pick. Then in third year, you have also 2 pathways you can pick. So the dual language pathway or the single language pathway. So the single language basically means you drop a language. So for example, let's say you picked Japanese and Spanish, and you only want to concentrate now on Spanish. You drop Japanese and you will only focus on Spanish. However, if you pick the dual language pathway, it means you will continue with the 2 languages. So both dual language pathway and single language pathway, they have in semester 1 and in semester 2 the core module, which is dissertation translation, which is basically an independent research. And then you also have optional modules. So you choose 2 of your languages for the year long, which are here in the table. Then following in third year, in semester 1, you have, apart from dissertation translation as a core module, you will have also theoretical approaches to translation and translation multimedia. Plus, in semester 1, you have to choose one of the following: that are shown in this table. So, for example, if you have the language German, you can pick German Literature and Society. For Spanish, Spanish Literature and Society. For Japanese, perspective on Japanese culture. For Chinese, perspective on Chinese culture. And for French, Literature and Society. Then and you also have to choose 3 of the following across semester 1 and 2. So there is the module of economic translation in the languages. There's also technical translation, and then there is community interpreting theory and practice, sexualities, languages and society, the language of business, and the media across cultures. So when you finish third year, you have the option to graduate with this degree. So you're finished with the course and you become a translator and you become a graduate. However, there is an optional year, which is fourth year, which you can either do a year abroad at a partner's university, so you can do an Erasmus, which is a really nice idea, as you can go to another country and practice your language. So you can either go to Austria, China, France, Germany, Japan, Mexico, Norway, Spain, or Switzerland. Of course, for example, if you chose Spanish and let's say German, you have the options to go or to Spain, or to Mexico, or to Germany, or to Austria, or to Switzerland. So you need to go to the country where that language is spoken. Or you also have the opportunity to complete a year-long work placement, which is called an intra. Then now I'll be talking about what careers you can go into when you finish this course. So one of the obvious careers you can go into is being a translator or an interpreter, as you will have a lot of translation modules, and you also be working on interpretation. You can also become an editor, a terminologist. You can also become an educator, so you can become a teacher and you can teach in secondary, for example, any languages. So for example, you can teach, let's say, Spanish language. You can also be a marketer, sales manager, diplomat, a journalist, and so on. What I really like about this course, it offers a lot of job opportunities. So that's really nice. And then now I will be talking about my experience studying Alps. So I'm from Spain, and I've always wanted to study abroad in an English-speaking country. So when I was doing my research, I found that DCU had this course, and I must say that DCU is the only university in Ireland that offers a translation course, and I was really interested in translation, so I applied and I got in. And last year, which I was in first year, I had a really nice experience. There's, for example, in the course, there's a lot of group assignments, which I really like, as you get to work with a lot of people. Also, the lecturers are really nice, they're really helpful. So, for example, if you don't understand something that they said in class, you can send them an email, or if you didn't understand an assignment, you can send them an email, and they are going to reply to you, and they're always really helpful. Also, I find that classes are really entertaining, as we always start with doing a VBox or a Kahoot, so it starts to make you think on what you are going to learn. Also, the opportunities outside the class are really nice. For example, there's the society. So we have the German society. For all the languages, we have a society. So, for example, I was in the German society, and we used to meet twice a week. And there was a lot of really nice events. So, for example, we used to see films in the language. We also got to meet new people, and also you can interact with native people. So you can practice your language. Also, there is the Lingua Cultural space, which is basically an area where you can go with your friends, and there's teachers which help you to improve your language. So there's a lot of activities organized, and it's really fun. And now, if anybody has any questions, they can put them in the chat and I can respond.